Okay, so we're talking about how do we put on our pointe shoes. So what I'm going to do is first we'll start with your pads, and then we'll talk about how we're going to tie the ribbons. Okay, so get out your pads, and your pad, most dancers agree that if you put your pad on first and then put your tights over your pads stay still better. So I think you guys all have ouch pouches. So go ahead and put your ouch pouch on your toes and then cover it with your tights. And you may as well do both feet now. Okay. Okay, so we also need to do a fitting with our drawstrings. Does everybody have their pouches on and their tights over their pouch? Okay, okay. So go ahead and slide your foot into your shoe, but leave the strings out. So the drawstrings are out. Okay, and then we want to make sure the drawstring is in a knot. So make sure that your drawstring, pull it in and then make a square knot, a double knot. Don't tie a bow. This is the drawstring right here. So you want to not make the shoe too tight, but it should be snug. And then tie it in a knot. Here, let me show you. These are not my shoes. I have not worn pointe shoes in over 30 years. Okay, so it's tied in a knot. Okay, now you're gonna measure. Did you guys bring scissors? Okay, so see my strings? I don't want them to get all bunchy down here underneath my toes, because that might not be very comfortable for my toes. So I'm only talking about the drawstrings right now. So I'm going to cut my drawstrings so that they're the same length as the vamp on my shoe. Okay, now I'm going to...
Mom, I need scissors.
Now I'm going to tuck my drawstrings into my shoe and put my shoe back on. Okay? Okay. If you don't have scissors at the moment, that's something that you're going to remember to do. Because if they're long and they get all bunched up in your pointe shoe, they will remind you that you were supposed to trim them.
What?
Now you don't want to cut them too short, because then they'll keep popping out. So if you measure them, I have found that if you measure them the length of the vamp of your shoe, that's a good enough length to keep them in the shoe, but not interfere. You don't want the drawstring to come out of your shoe. That's why we tied it in a knot. Okay? Because the drawstring is going to help your shoe fit properly. Okay, so any questions about that? Okay, cool. Okay, so we've got our shoe on. The elastic is snug, but not tight. Correct? Snug, but not tight. So it's not making bubbles. It's pretty snug, right?
Are we putting on both shoes right now or just doing one?
I think it would be a good okay to start with one.
Okay.
Okay, so you have your shoe on your foot. Okay, now we start with the ribbon that is on the side of the baby toe. The baby toe goes first. and you give it, my foot is resting on the floor, and you give that ribbon just a little bit of a pull. Because remember I said the ribbon is going to hold the pointe shoe up against your instep? The elastic's holding the shoe on your foot, which you can sense now because it's snug. The ribbon is going to hold the pointe shoe up against your instep. Okay, so I have the ribbon, and I'm going to go in front of my ankle. It goes behind my ankle, and then I'm going to bring it around, and I'm going to hold it on the inside, on my big toe side. I'm holding it with my, actually, is everybody starting with the right foot? No, they're not. I'm holding it on the inside of my big toe. Do you see that? Show me. Let's do that again. Okay, you know what? Let's everybody put the shoe on the right foot so I can talk about right hand, left hand. So the shoe is on our right foot. We take the baby toe side ribbon, and it goes in front of my ankle. It goes around behind the back. You're doing it opposite, Olivia. The baby toe ribbon, just the baby toe ribbon. In front, around, and all the way to the big toe side. And I'm holding it with my left hand. Hold it with the left hand. You see how I'm holding it out here in the middle? Okay. Hold the ribbon with your left hand. Now I'm going to take the other ribbon, the big toe ribbon, and I give it a bit of a pull, and I go in front of my ankle, around behind, and look, it's going to go under the first ribbon, and then I keep going around until it lays right on top of the first ribbon. And now I'm holding them both in my left hand. They're both in my left hand, on the inside or the big toe side of my foot. I'm holding two ribbons in my left hand on the inside of my foot or the big toe side. That's right. Keep going, Cheyenne. Keep going. There we are. Now I'm going to tie a knot in the ribbon. A square knot is fine, or a double knot. They're called different things. And when I tie the knot, it is not directly behind my ankle. It's a little bit on the inside of my ankle because we don't want the knot rubbing on our Achilles tendon. So it's on the little bit on the inside or the big toe side of my foot. It's on the inside. On the inside. Okay, how we doing? Yeah, don't tie a bow, tie a knot. Make a knot. Okay, so you should have ribbon left over. Everybody have ribbon left over? Okay, now I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to tuck it under the ribbons that are wrapped around my ankle. Okay, and so now I have a tail. It's sticking out from underneath the ribbon that I wrapped around my ankle. So it's kind of dangling down by my heel, the inside part of my heel. Okay, now I'm going to smooth out the ribbons that are around my ankle. There should be no wrinkles or bunches. Do you see how this top ribbon is completely smooth and you can't even see the one underneath it? I ran my finger underneath the ribbon to help smooth it out. Okay. So the extra ribbon are hanging down on the inside of my foot by my ankle. They're on the big toe side of my foot. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with my ribbons, and you're not going to do it yet because I got to make sure that your shoes are tied correctly, but I'm going to show you what happens next. So this is a lot of extra ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it to where it meets the bottom of the shoe. I'm going to trim it here. Of course, my ribbons, my scissors aren't working. That would have been too easy. There. Okay. So now my ribbons are shorter, and when I fold them back up, they're going to tuck up underneath the ribbon around my ankle. And you can't even see the knot. That's the goal. Okay? So the ribbons were in making a little tail down by my heel. And I'm going to fold them back up. I don't recommend rolling. I recommend folding because then they'll be flatter when I tuck it back up underneath the ribbons that are around my ankle. Okay? Now we're not going to cut your ribbons yet because I want to make sure that your shoes are tied properly. But for the sake of the video that I'm making, I'm going to show you what, I'm going to undo all this. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to my ribbons to prevent them from fraying. So I'm taking the ribbons off. Okay, and this next part you need to do with an adult supervision. Okay. So I'm going to light a match, and then I'm going to singe the edge of these ribbons in the flame. This is something that you're going to do with adult supervision. I don't know if you can see, but my ribbons are already starting to fray. And if I don't do something about it, they're going to fray inch, 2 inch, and all the way up. And pretty soon I won't have an elastic left, or a ribbon left anymore. Okay, so I'm going to strike the match. And I'm going to just singe the edge of the ribbon. That's all I need to do. That's it. All done. Okay? That's it. That's all you need to do. There doesn't need to be a fire or anything interesting like that. Okay? All right, so let's review. You've got your pads on your toes and you covered them with your tights. We measured the drawstrings and trimmed them so that they match the length of your vamp, and we tucked them in. We slid our foot into the shoe. We take the baby toe ribbon, give it a little bit of a tug. It goes in front of the ankle, around behind, and we hold it on the inside or the big toe side. Then we take the big toe ribbon. We give it a little bit of a tug. It goes in front, around behind, and under. Under is very important. Under the first ribbon, I lay it right on top of the first ribbon. And now I hold both ribbons on the inside of my ankle. I'm going to make a knot, not a bow, a knot, a double knot. The knot is on the inside of my ankle. It is not in the back by my Achilles tendon. It's on the inside of my ankle. Now I'm going to tuck both of the ribbons underneath everything, and there's a little tail hanging down. There's a little tail. I go back and I smooth out the top ribbon so there's no bunchies. And then I'm going to fold the ribbon, the tail, I fold it back up and tuck it underneath the ribbons around my ankle. Okay? Okay. So that is how you put your shoe on. Now, you follow exactly the same pattern when it's on the other foot. You start with the baby toe ribbon and go in front, behind, and around. Then you do the big toe ribbon, okay? It's exactly the same pattern when you do the left foot. Tell you what, let me do the left foot too. Okay, so I'm going to take this off and we'll do the left foot together. Okay, so now we have the, we're gonna put the shoe on the left foot. Okay, so, or you've already measured, you've got your pads on, your tights over your pads, you've measured your drawstring, and it's tucked inside. We put on the shoe. So we're gonna use the same words. Baby toe goes first. Baby goes first. In front of your ankle, around behind, and all the way through. So I'm putting the shoe on my left foot. I'm holding the ribbon in my right hand on the inside of my leg or on the big toe side. Let's do that again. So the shoe is on my left foot. I'm going to take the baby toe side ribbon. It goes in front of my ankle, behind my ankle, and around to the inside. I'm going to hold it with my right hand. So I'm holding that ribbon with my right hand. Now I pick up the big toe side. I give it a bit of a tug. It goes in front of my ankle, around behind, and look, it's going under. It goes under the first ribbon. It's going to go right on top of the first ribbon, and then it comes around to the inside. So I'm holding both ribbons on the inside of my foot or the big toe side. I'm going to tie it in a knot. I tied it in a knot, and I'm going to slide it underneath the ribbons that are around my ankle. Here's the tail. Now I go back and I smooth out the top ribbon, and it's going to cover my knot. in both the ribbons. See how you only see one ribbon on top and see how smooth that is? Then I'm going to fold up the tail and tuck it underneath. So we use the same words for the other side. I don't recommend using right, left, and all of that. You start with the baby toe is the first ribbon, and the big toe side is the second ribbon. Okay? Okay, so that is how you put a pointe shoe on, and you have nice smooth ribbons. Okay? So I'm gonna finish off with the YouTube video, and then I'll work with you guys one-on-one to see how you're doing, okay?